Hi guys. Firstly, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing to my channel. Thanks to you, I've crossed 100 subscribers. Now I have 115. So this is not a no chess opening video that I usually make. So I'm going to show you a chess trap that beginners generally fall for, or they can use against another beginner to win. So this is especially because I've crossed the 100 subscriber landmark, and thank you for that. Okay, so this, if you're white and you're playing against a beginner, there's a good high chance that you might be able to use this trap. But if you're black, for sure, watch out for the trap. So let's see. White moves pawn to e4, black moves pawn to e5, the general opening, knight to f3. So now there are two variations. Some people move knight to f6 or knight to c6. We'll look at both variations and how both variations can lead to that trap. So knight to c6. Now bishop to b5. With enough support, black would just develop and white takes the bishop. And just repeating, this is only if you're playing against a beginner, it's a good trap to use. If you're playing against an amateur or professional, you might get into a bad position also. So black takes with the d7 pawn, and now white takes the pawn. Generally, many beginners would like to take back the pawn, so they would kill the pawn with the knight. So now white moves queen to e, e2, attacking the knight. So there are two things you can move or do. You can either go back or support it. I'll show you what happens with both. So pawn to support this, then you add pressure, or not with this pawn, you can add pressure with this pawn. So out here it's better to lose your black knight than go back, because if you go back, that's it, almost game done, with a check here and the queen's trapped. This is a very common mistake I see beginners making, so you should watch out for that. Watch out for the, so if a queen's attacking, you might as well just support it with your bishop or this thing. Firstly, you don't, for black, don't directly kill the pawn. First drive this knight away, then take the pawn. So then the knight is likely to move back, and then you take the pawn. Or if he tries to support it, just take the exchange. Actually, by moving this also a disadvantage for white, because you take the exchange, then he has to kill with the pawn. And now if you notice, you can disrupt his castling. So now white can't castle, and you can take back the pawn. And now there's a threat here. So now you know what to do when white takes the pawn there. Okay, now let's look at the second variation. Many people play this variation also. This is a very common variation. So generally, like when professionals are playing each other, they know taking this is not that good an idea, so they generally move the bishop here. on the strong diagonal. But if you're playing against a beginner, it's better you go take the pawn, and then there's a high chance the beginner takes the pawn back to level the material disadvantage. And now you attack. It's the same thing now. So if he attacks, then you go. If he goes back, then gone with the check, and you take the queen. So this is a very common trap that I see many beginners fall for when they're playing black. So beginners, watch out for this trap, because this trap will totally change the game. You lose your queen with this trap. So always watch out for this. And thank you for watching, and thank you for the 100 subscribers.